So a lot of questions about tariffs and their effects. ASU professor Domenico Ferraro joins us now to talk more about this. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Let's start by commenting on just that last story, and we'll try to stay out of politics as much as possible. But you've got the administration, the Trump administration, saying we are right now negotiating with China, and you've got the Chinese leadership saying that's not happening. What do you make of that?
I don't want to enter who is telling the truth or not. I think what I know from economics is that the longer we wait about an agreement, the worse it's going to be for the U.S. economy and for the U.S. consumers. Why is that? Because there's a lot of uncertainty. Everybody is thinking ahead what's going to happen, how large the tariffs are going to be, and that creates a lot of wait and see. People are waiting to see what's going to happen, but waiting for economics is bad for economic activity. Waiting means delaying expenditure. From the consumer side, waiting means delaying investment on the business side, and this is typically conducive to recession.
And that uncertainty, I think, a lot of experts are saying, is what's contributing to the stock market having a bit of a downfall here over the last few weeks.
I think what's happening in the stock market and the treasury bond market is mainly due to uncertainty. Everybody is trying to figure it out what's going to happen next. And, uncertainty is real. It's very hard to predict the future, even in normal times. It's even harder to think about a trade policy that there is no recent experience, for the last 20, 30 years. So everybody decides to think ahead. How can I rebalance my portfolio? Should I keep my stocks? Should I sell them? And if I sell them, should I buy U.S. Treasury bonds or go abroad? So that's what we are seeing in the last few weeks.
Another headline today was Temu. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it's one of those sites where you can buy really cheap products pretty much directly from China. And they're already raising their prices now. Do you see more of this, especially with China? And one more thing, we have a trade imbalance with China, but you say that's not necessarily a bad thing. Why?
So a trade balance is not a bad thing, because there are gains from trade, and this implies that even for many years a country can import a lot more than exports. But this is typically associated with foreign investor holding U.S. dollar or U.S. denominated assets. This is not a bad thing. This is the U.S. borrowing very cheaply over 20 or 30 years.
And the argument from the Trump administration would be we've been treated unfairly all this time. It has to come to an end. I
think we should redefine what unfair means. I don't think having a trade deficit is unfair for U.S. consumer. I think the question is whether having a trade deficit for 20, 30 years is good for U.S. consumer or not. And I would say yes, it's good.
Professor, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.